Unit 3, Formative 2, Day 2, Writing the Equations. Today we're going to go backwards. So we got to remember the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, we got to remember that your m, is your slope. Your b is your y-intercept. Okay, so the two things we need to find from our graph is our slope. Remember, slope we can find using rise over run. Our y-intercept is where it hits the y-axis. Okay, and then the other thing you need to pay attention to is, does it have a dashed line? If it does, we're going to use either a less than or a greater than sign. Or does it have a solid line? If it does, we're going to use a less than or equal, greater than or equal. Alright, so for this first one, I don't know if you can see it, but the shading is actually all up here. Okay, so the first two things we need to find is our slope and our y-intercept. Okay, so my slope or my y-intercept. If you look for your y-intercept, it looks like it hits right there at 1, so your y-intercept is 1. Your slope, here's another point for you. So you go up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So up 1 over 4, which is 1 over 4. So there's your m and your b. So you plug that into your equation, so you get y equals m, which is 1/4, x plus your b, which is 1. Okay, so the equation of the line. But now, I already did that wrong because it's not an equal sign. So we got to look back and say, okay, is it a dotted line or is it a solid line? Well, it's a dotted line. Okay, and then you have to put your pointer or your pencil on the y-intercept. Does it shade above the y-intercept or below? It shades above, which means it's greater than. Okay, and because it's a dashed line, it's not equal to. Alright, let's try another one. Alright, next problem. You have your y-intercept right there. Another point would be up here. Okay, so you're going to be able to find those points on your own. Alright, your slope. How do you get from point A to point B? And you go up 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up 2 over 5, which is 2 over 5. Your y-intercept is 1. So when you do the equation, you have y, and you have mx, which is 2 over 5x, plus your b, which is 1. Okay, and then you put your pencil on the y-intercept, and you say, does it shade above it or below it? Well, it shades all this stuff below it, so it's less than. And it's a solid line, so it's less than or equal to. Okay? This one, we need to find our y-intercept, which is right here, our slope, so another point. Looks like our slope, or another point would be down here. Okay, so we use rise over run. So I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 5 over 4 because it went down. So my slope is negative 5 over 4. My y-intercept for this problem, it hits the y-axis right here with negative 1. So you have y, you have your mx, which is negative 5 over 4x minus 1. Put your pencil on the y-intercept. Does it shade above it or below it? It shades above it, so it's greater than. Then look back at the line. Is it solid or dashed? It's solid, so it needs the line underneath. Okay, one more. Alright, last one. We find the y-intercept, which is right here. We find another point, which is right here. Okay, so my slope starts here and it goes down 1 over 2, so down 1 means negative 1 over 2. My y-intercept was positive 1, so I have y, I have negative 1 over 2x plus 1. I put my pencil on the y-intercept. Does it shade above it or below it? Above it, so it's greater than. Is it a dashed line or a solid line? It's dashed, so no equal to. Alright, so that's writing the equation line, that's going backwards. Be good for the sub tomorrow. Make sure you have your good notes. Help your classmates out. See you on Monday.